All right, today we are diving deep, and I mean really deep, into one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, shadowy figures in all of mystical tradition, Balaam the sorcerer. We're going to go way beyond the Sunday school version of the story to uncover the actual source code of his power. This is a journey into the hidden architecture of reality itself. We're kicking things off with this foundational secret from the mystics. You see, this one sentence is our key. It's our entry point. It tells us that Balaam's power wasn't just something he was born with, it was acquired. He had to go somewhere specific to learn from someone specific. This isn't just a story about a guy, it's an investigation into a hidden and immense source of power.
So, to unravel this whole thing, here's our roadmap. We'll start with the enigma of Balaam himself. Then we'll journey to the very mountains where he trained. We're going to meet his fallen teachers, decode the serpent power he was wielding, and then see how he literally hacked the divine system. And finally, we'll put him side by side with his ultimate counterpart, Moses.
Okay, so who was Balaam really? The Zohar and other mystical texts don't just see him as some character in a story. They present him as a kind of cosmic anomaly. I mean, think about it. A person with immense spiritual capacity, but his entire system was flipped, inverted, like a dark mirror to the prophets of holiness.
You know, the sages say something incredible. They say no prophet arose in Israel like Moses, but among the nations, one did arise. And who was that? It was Balaam. This right here frames our central question. Moses was a conduit for holiness, what we call Kedusha. Balaam, though, he was the exact opposite. He was a channel for the Sitra Achra, the other side. So how on earth could a power that vast come from a source that wasn't holy?
This is the riddle we're here to solve. It's a real paradox, and it gets to the very heart of how reality is put together. To find the answer, we have to go on a journey to a very specific place, a place that exists both on the map and in the very architecture of creation.
The sources are crystal clear on this. Balaam's power is geographically and spiritually located in the Harare Kadem, the mountains of the east. And believe me, this isn't just a random spot on the globe. It's a specific spiritual access point. I want you to picture this: stark, windswept mountains. The Zohar Chadash calls them the mountains of darkness. This isn't just about geography. It's a symbolic entryway, a place where the veil between worlds is just thinner. You could almost think of it like a remote, unmonitored server farm, a terminal that gives you direct, unfiltered access to a different, much darker network running parallel to our own. Now, here's the crucial part. Balaam didn't just stumble upon this place by accident. No way. He had an inherited connection. The mystical sources tell us his entire family line, starting with his grandfather Laban, was steeped in these dark arts. So this wasn't just a skill he learned, it was a corrupted inheritance. He basically inherited the family's secret access codes.
So, if the Eastern Mountains are the server location, who are the system administrators? Right? Who built this network in the first place? And who holds the keys to this dark knowledge that was passed down right to Balaam? Well, the sources are unanimous. In these mountains, there dwell two primordial entities, the fallen angels Azza and Azazel. They are the original masters of this forbidden knowledge, the gatekeepers of the Eastern Mountains. And their backstory is just incredible. The Zohar and the Midrash explain that they were the original critics of humanity, and in this profound cosmic irony, they were challenged to prove their point, they descended to Earth, and they failed the very test they were so sure humanity would fail. And for that, they were bound to these mountains, becoming the keepers of a parallel stream of knowledge, the exact knowledge Balaam traveled all that way to acquire directly from them. Okay, this is a deeply esoteric statement, but stick with me, because it is absolutely critical. It tells us their power isn't self-made. They're tapping into a specific, distorted energy leak from the holy system itself. The heels of Leah refers to the lowest, most vulnerable point of a very high spiritual configuration. It's a point where divine energy is transitioning and is open to being siphoned off. Isaiah and Aziel basically found a system vulnerability. So, Azza and Azal are the teachers. But what is the textbook? What's the fundamental force they're teaching Balaam how to manipulate? I mean, if they're just tapping a leak in the system, what is the nature of the corrupted data they're actually accessing? And now we get to the absolute root of the system. The power that Balaam channels, the knowledge taught by Azza and Azazel, is ultimately the power of the Nachash Kadmoni, the primordial serpent from the Garden of Eden. This is the original source code of impurity. In Kabbalah, the serpent isn't just some creature from a story. It's the very source of the Sitra Achra, the other side. It's an entire alternate system built on concealment, on absorption, on darkness. To make this really clear, let's use a modern analogy. Think of reality as running on two networks. Holiness, or Kedusha, that's the secure public internet. It operates on divine protocols designed for connection, for building. But the Sitra Achra, the serpent's domain, that's the dark web, a parallel, hidden network with its own rules, accessible only if you know where to look, through very specific gateways. And if we follow this analogy, Azza and Azazel are like the original legendary hackers who discovered a zero-day exploit at the dawn of time. The Eastern Mountains, that's their rogue, unsecured server farm. And Balaam's family line? Well, they're the ones who pass down the root passwords, giving him privileged administrative access to this entire dark network. And this completely redefines what sorcery even is. It's not magic like in a fantasy novel. It's a form of cosmic hacking. The Zohar is clear. Sorcerers are trying to override the established, holy system. Balaam isn't creating darkness out of thin air. He's injecting malicious code into the divine operating system to force a destructive result. So how does this hack actually work on a technical level? To understand this, we need to look at the divine architecture itself, the 10 Sephirot, the emanations through which the divine interacts with our world. You can think of the Sephirot as the fundamental operating system of the universe. They are the pathways for divine light and intention. Sorcery works by injecting corrupt data right into these channels, hijacking the flow for its own twisted purposes. This slide just illustrates the mechanics perfectly. Balaam isn't creating darkness. He's hijacking a flow of light and twisting it. So, step 1, he targets the Sephirah of Yesod, which is the final pipeline to our physical world. Step 2, he forms a corrupted data packet using impure speech and intention. Step 3, he injects it. And as you see in step 4, this pollutes the pure life force, which leads to the destructive output down here in our world in step 5. And the color symbolism here tells the whole story. Holiness, Kedusha, is creative, it gives, it emanates outward. But the other side, the Sitra Achra, it's parasitic, it's consuming. It's like a spiritual black hole that just absorbs and corrupts energy, turning life force into absolute chaos. To make this even clearer, let's just retell it as a video game. So you've got this character, Balaam, who wants to be the most powerful sorcerer, but instead of going to the main magic school, he travels to the forbidden, cursed mountains. There, he finds these two ancient, fallen masters who were banished ages ago, and they teach him how to use this powerful cheat code, drawing power directly from a giant dark serpent, which gives him amazing abilities, but it slowly corrupts the entire game. And now, for the adults in the room, here's the cosmic engineering breakdown. What we're really looking at is a compromised system architecture. Balaam is a user with inherited admin privileges. He uses a backdoor, the Eastern Mountains, to connect with these rogue sysadmins, Azazel and Azaziel. They grant him access to the serpent's corrupted source code, allowing him to execute commands that destabilize the entire system. All of this brings us to the ultimate comparison, the point where this huge cosmic drama gets personified in two individuals. The conflict between the secure network and the dark web is embodied perfectly in the figures of Moses and Balaam, and they represent two sides of the very same coin, da'at, which means knowledge. So the crucial point is this. Both were masters of da'at, of deep cosmic knowledge. But they accessed it from totally opposite ends of the system. Moses received his at Sinai, through holiness, for the purpose of tikkun, of rectifying and healing the world. Balaam, on the other hand, sourced his from the Eastern Mountains, through the corrupted back door of the Sitra Achra, all for the purpose of destruction. Mystically, their very souls came from the purified and the impure remnants of Abel. This is Balaam's own boast. And the scary part is, it was true. The sources explain that he is the root of the dot of the klippah, the knowledge of the impure side. He truly knew the system, but he knew it as a hacker, not as a divinely sanctioned user. He understood the architecture perfectly, and that is precisely what made him so incredibly dangerous. Two prophets, two systems. two different paths to accessing the very knowledge that underpins all of reality. One uses that knowledge to build and sanctify the world. The other seeks to exploit the world's very code for his own personal power. And that leaves us with a final provocative thought. The very existence of Balaam's path implies that reality isn't some static creation. It's a contested space, a dynamic system that has to be actively maintained and protected from its own hidden vulnerabilities, and from the ever-present echo of the serpent's code. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.